How y'all doing today? This is Dr. Ferrante Frazier, and this is another episode of Natural is F, the show that we do every Tuesday, bringing you information about holistic health and natural healing concepts. I'm not a medical doctor, so if you're seeking any type of medical advice, wrong place. Um, Always seek medical information from a medical doctor, but seek holistic care from a holistic practitioner. If you want to learn how to exercise, you don't just go to a heart surgeon. He don't know nothing about exercising. He can operate on the heart and give you drugs, but he don't know what a man who was trained, a guy who coaches and trains, a trainer. He can't teach you that. So you go to qualified people for the conditions you're suffering from. And holistic health is a lifestyle change where you change your lifestyle to conform it to the natural lifestyle of health, the conditions for health. Whatever the conditions is, you're conforming yourself to those conditions. If you're used to eating bad, now you're eating good. You're used to drinking bad, now you're drinking good. You used to, not exercising, now you're exercising. Wasn't getting sleep, now you're getting sleep. You know, just stress and worry and fear, now you're calm, relaxed, controlling your emotion. So it's just you're conforming to the conditions of health. But for you to conform yourself to the conditions of health, you must know the conditions of health. A lot of us don't know. We believe that health is in a pill. We believe that health is in treatments. We believe health is at the end of a doctor's knife. We go and seek health from medical doctors. We go and seek health from, herbologists and all these other so-called cure mongers. And now time do we look and modify or conform ourselves to the conditions of health. The conditions of health, like I said, must be put into your awareness for you to, start living that life. You got to live that life. The life of health. Health is not you're not going to find it in no type of remedy. There's no remedy except for healthful living, a change in the mode of living. The only remedy for health is obedience. Health requires your obedience. Eating what nature tells you to eat, drinking what nature tells you to drink. Living that life, in other words. I want to thank every listener who tune into this show every Tuesday and learn this information about holistic health and natural healing. Our concept is called natural hygiene, our modality. All right, natural because it doesn't use any adulterated means. Hygiene is because it's the way of healing. So it's the unadulterated way of healing. It doesn't need any type of herb or remedy or anything like that. It just gets you to conform to the condition of health. So that's why we call it natural hygiene. I wanted to talk a little bit today, anytime that we do have it where you can interact with us, like if you have questions, if you have issues going on with yourself, you can definitely at any time leave a statement up here. And if it's during the show and we can catch it at real early and put it up there, we will respond and help you and understand what's going on with you or your families or whatever. if it's dealing with health, you should be utilizing us now. If I was a mechanic and you had any issues with your car, you could put up there, questions about cars and engines and stuff like that, and I would be well rehearsed in telling you how to get your car back up and running or what to do. But that's not my specialty. My specialty is in human health and nutrition. So if you having issues with the health of the organism, well, that's my specialty. We can help you get that back in order using natural hygiene, showing you how to conform back to the ways of health. You know, I'm gonna keep saying that, right? I'm gonna keep saying that you gotta conform and live that life. You gotta live that life if you wanna be healthy. You can't steal it. We out here trying to steal health. We sit there and disobey Mother Nature all day long. We don't drink her water, and we don't eat her food, and we don't get her rest, and we don't even think that we have to pick up a weight or anything, or exercise, walk around, or do nothing. And we think that we can live in stress and have all kind of manner of evilness in our heart and in our mind. And we think that Mother Nature's supposed to reward us with health. And when we get sick, we think we can sidestep the effects of our bad habits and sidestep the issues that we're going through and continue our bad habits, all by taking pills and remedies and so-called treatments. Like I said, the end of a doctor's knife. So we have to stop thinking that we can steal health. It can't be stole, people. You gotta live that life. I'm gonna keep saying that. You gotta live that life. Like I said, I really do appreciate everybody who tune into this show every Tuesday. I really do hope that you're getting something from it. Leave your comments up here, and we would definitely help you. ATR Media is a platform that is really helping bring awareness to all things that are relevant. You can check it out on Facebook under all things relevant, Black Media, our Black Media. Go to YouTube and look up ATR Black Media, our Black Media. I wish that our information is so positive to you, and you see fit to support. It takes revenue to bring these information. It's not free to run electricity, and you got individuals sitting behind the scenes handling this and bringing this information to you. So support that platform by any means necessary, where they can continuously bring forth relevant information, even if that information doesn't apply to you at this moment. Support it where it can put that into the world. If it's in the world, it's going to eventually bless you in some manner. So if we can get a momentum of continuously having a show that is so powerful and bringing things that are relevant, and not having platforms that are just irrelevant to health or anything like that. You got platforms out there geared toward playing jokes on people, cooking toxic food, all type of platforms out there that has no benefits to human health, human generation, anything to do with enhancing human health or the human experience. So we ask that you support this platform, that it can be a staple and our world for for generations on in to come, and let it be able to reach more people. The more people who are placed into this, have the ability to get this information. Imagine that, people start watching these shows and watching Natural as F, and then suddenly they start eating more fruits and more vegetables, and they start getting more rest and getting sun exposure and getting fresh air, and going to sleep more often, and keeping them emotions down. They study our shows, and our shows give them information towards how they can bring their body back up into health. We teach this information in such a way it can get into your head to alter your mode of living, to get you to conform to that life that supports health, that life that supports regeneration. you know so support what will support you. All right. So with that being said, I wanted to talk about a condition that is going on in our society today. Well, it's been going on forever because it's an action of the body. It's just that we can't interpret that action correctly. Mankind has been interpreting actions of the body as war, and to war, to fight and to suppress and to palliate. They didn't understand that the body is a self-healing organism, and in so doing, it creates avenues and conditions on how to heal itself. Now, what I have here is the Human Body Book. All right, the Human Body Book. It's an anatomy book. And in this Human Body Book, on page 160, it talks about the inflammatory response. All right. A lot of us, especially up in over the age of 40 or 50 or something like that, we're suffering with some type of inflammation somewhere in our body. Now, inflammation is just that itis. A lot of us think the itis is when you eat a big meal, or you eat a greasy meal and you end up going to sleep talking about, oh, that boy got the itis. But the itis is inflammation. Like, for example, bronchitis. That's inflammation in your bronchial. If I got carditis, that's inflammation in my heart. Meningitis is inflammation in the nerves and the meninges, in the brain area. Sinusitis, that's inflammation in the sinuses. Iriditis, inflammation in the eyes. Laryngitis, inflammation in the larynx. So if I got arthritis, appendicitis, any itis is the organ that's inflamed with itis put to the back of it. So I use the name of the organ, and I put a suffix with it that explain what's going on with that organ. The organ is the larynx, and it's inflamed, itis. So I put the word together, laryngitis. So here it is. It's inflammation. I got inflammation in those areas. Now, since the beginning of the medical mindset, they've been believing that inflammation is something that must be warred against. Some people don't even know where inflammation comes from. In certain diseases, they'll say that. We don't know what's causing the inflammation, man. But your joints are inflamed. You have gout in your toes. Now they usually tell you where that gout comes from, because people know that gout is caused by too much. Do apologize there, but it's caused by too much irritation. If I'm irritating a situation, if I'm causing irritation to something, it's gonna cause an I'm gonna have like an inflammatory response. But I'm jumping the gun here. I want to be able to get you to understand it from the human book. I don't want to be telling you this way. You be like, well, we don't know what Dr. Frazier talking about. You know, Dr. Frazier got his own terminology. He talking out of the side of his gums or something like that. But if the books tell you, the science books, the books that the biology books, the anatomy books, if I'm reading it out of it, and you're seeing exactly the same thing that the doctors learn from, they just don't interpret it properly. Inflammation. If you look at it, the whole thing is the inflammatory response. Inflammation is the body's rapid general response to any kind of insult or injury, such as physical wounds and foreign objects, including infecting organisms, chemical toxins, heat, or radiation. Now, I'm going to repeat that. But like I said again, you got doctors telling individuals they don't know what's causing their inflammation. We don't know why you're suffering with this inflammation, and what we're just going to give you is some anti-inflammatory medication. But here it is. You didn't see anything that I just read a few minutes ago said that the cause of the inflammatory response is a lack of medication. Nothing in there said, well, you're inflamed because you didn't take your medication today. If that's not the cause of your inflammatory response or issue, then how can it be the way to heal it? How can you stop a condition that is caused by something unknown with poison, pills, and treatments and stuff like that without removing the unknown? How you can stop me from bleeding with the knife still stuck in me if you don't think that the knife is what's making me bleed? I don't know why you're bleeding, sir. There's a knife stuck in my side. We don't believe it's the knife. What? Inflammation is the body's rapid general response. So inflammation is action of the body. It's the body's rapid general response to any kind of insult or injury. So any insult or injury happen to any cell or tissue in the organism, in this body of ours, there will be an inflammatory response. So the body will respond with an inflammation. We see this in things such as a physical wound or when foreign objects enter the human body. And it said chemical toxins, heat, or radiation. Now, it say infected organisms, but we have to go into understanding to teach you what that is. Infection is just due to faulty drainage. When the body is unable to drain itself properly, toxins sit in and spoil and rot, and parasites manifest in that area, all due to faulty drainage. You establish drainage, and there can be no infection. We can show you a case of that all day with a dog having a wound, and he sit there and lick his wound after eating rotten flesh, and his wound don't become infected as long as there's drainage. But anyhow, let's get back to this inflammatory response. All right. Unlike the human response, which is specific, the immune response. See, that you got the inflammatory response and you got the immune response. Now, the immune response, we talked about the immune system in the show not too long ago. I'm probably going to revisit that again in a minute to really break that down, because that's what the issues of our time is, big time. The immune, these weak immune systems that we're suffering from, and they going by so many different names with these things. But we're suffering from weak immune system now due to our suppression of the actions of the body. So here in this thing, it says that unlike the immune response, which is specific against certain invading substances, the inflammatory response is non-specific. It is a fast, generalized reaction that passes through defined phases and involves various types of white blood cells and defense chemicals. The 4 cardinal signs of inflammation is redness. So when something becomes inflamed, these are the cardinal signs that inflammation is what's going on. You're in a state of inflammatory response. You got redness going on. You got swelling going on. You got heat going on, and you got pain. So those are the 4 signs of inflammation. You know, oh man, I don't know what's going on with this joint here. This leg is hot, and it's red, and it's swelling, and I feel pain. Well, that's inflammation. Some people have that in their joints, in their hands, in their legs, in their feet, in their hips area, in their neck, in their shoulders, all through their body. They have swelling, they have redness, and they got heat. And boy, do they have pain. The process aims to attack. Listen what the science book is telling you. It's not a medical book. This is a science book. It's where the medical people go and study science. It just ain't talking about no drugs in it. It's the only thing that's different from a medical mindset is they're not explaining you to take no drugs. But this is the same science that they learn in school. This is their book. It says the process aims to attack, break down, and remove any invading material, living or dead, and dispose of the body's own damaged cells and tissues, as well as initiate healing. So that's a lot what the inflammatory response does. Now, let's take, for example, you in a basketball game, you playing out there for the guys, they get up on the Sunday morning and they go out there and play some basketball, and one come down and he falls down on his knees, and his knees hits the cement pavement without any knee pads. He feels pain. His knees are red and swollen, and most likely feeling heat. So what would we say going on? Well, he has just entered the inflammatory response. His knees are inflamed. Now, why are they inflamed? What is causing that inflammation? Or what caused it? Well, damage. When he fell down, he damaged those knees. So here it is. It said that the inflammatory response is a non-specific action that is a fast, generalized reaction that comes to defend and repair damaged tissue, damaged cells and tissues, as well as start the healing process. How else is the knees going to heal if there's no blood sent to this area? And where waste can be removed and old cells can be removed and new cells can get nutrition in which to create even newer cells. It takes for more blood to be in that area. More blood is needed there because more nutrition is needed there, and more waste removal is needed to be removed from there. So more blood must be in that area. More blood means swelling. More blood means heat. Causes of inflammation. The respiratory system is under constant threat for tiny inhaled particles of dust and debris and attacked by microbes. That's what they say. The lining of the windpipe, which is called the trachea, mounts as an inflammatory response to dust and bacteria. In reality, it usually occurs alongside the specific immune response, which targets individual foreign substances. Let's say, for example, a casual item way, foreign, dust or whatever, get into the into the airwaves, inhaled in your air. It can cause physical damage. They can become trapped in the trachea. So when it does so, the trachea, which is a mucous membrane, produces mucus. And that mucus is to dilute and trap inhale dust and debris and stuff like that. Now, sharp materials, they rupture cells. That rupture and do damage. That damage of that different, like fiberglass, people who work around insulation, work in certain factories that you inhale, like you might be somebody in there that's sanding steel and stuff like that, and your mask don't protect you properly. And then you inhale these fragments, and these fragments are breathed in, and they are damaging and irritating the lining of your lungs, just like a person who's smoking. They're smoking, and the smoke, they say, got all kind of stuff in there so much that it irritates the lining of your your breathing tubes and stuff like that, the lining of your lungs. They irritate them, and that irritation destroy tissues. It destroy cells. And when those cells are destroyed, guess what's going to happen? You don't have to ask it to happen, but anytime something is damaged, the body will automatically institute an inflammatory response. So inflammation is going to happen if you like it or not. If there's damage or some type of issue going on in the human body, if you like it or not, the body will institute an inflammatory response. That's just what the body's going to do. It got to protect itself. You can sit there and keep damaging it, but it's going to, every time you break on something on this body or irritate or damage something, the body is going to keep trying to defend itself until it runs out of energy. Until it runs out of its vitality, it's going to keep trying to protect, defend, and preserve itself. That's what it was designed to do. Even though you may beat on it, drug it and poison it and all type of stuff, it's going to do everything in its power until it have no more power to defend itself. If you tear something up, it's going to repair it. If you poison yourself, it's going to try to eliminate it. If it can't eliminate it out through the regular routes, it's going to throw it out through mucous membrane. It's going to throw it out any route that it needs to throw it out. And if it can't get rid of it, it's going to store it somewhere in the body. It's going to store that waste, toxins, poisons, whatever, somewhere in the body. Sometimes it's stored inside tissues, like fatty subcutaneous tissues and stuff like that. Or it will create a sac in which to place the poisons in. Now, these poisons are irritating. Any cells that come in contact with these poisons that we allow in our body, we put in our body, they damage and kill cells. They're so toxic that they irritate the cells to death. Now, we know any irritation will result in what? Inflammation. Because if you damage something, then there's going to be a response to that damage. And that response is going to be an inflammatory response. Anytime you damage anything on the body, there's going to be a response from the body called the inflammatory response. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Just like the immune system responds also without you having to say anything. If a poison or an issue come about in your body, the immune system gonna go to work. It goes to work. Soon as it gets noticed that there's a poison that then gain entrance, or a cell that has gone rogue and acting up, the body will go there, and the phagocytes and the macrophages and the leukocytes, they will go to work. They don't have to be asked. That's their job. Anytime an invasion goes on in the human body, leukocytes are on demand to get to work. That's something you don't have to enforce. The body enforces its own law. Same thing with the inflammatory response. It's an action. It's a response that the body is going to do on its own when any area is damaged. And irritation produces damage. Poisons left in the body damages cells and tissue. And those cells and tissues must be repaired. And that repair is the inflammatory response. That's how the body repairs itself, via inflammation. Now, so where does the sense come in, where we go to the medical doctor and take anti-inflammatory medication? If my knees are inflamed because the body is trying to repair this, why would I go and take something to stop the inflammation? The inflammation is the process of healing. Now, I can't sit there and keep bouncing my knees on the concrete and think that it's going to heal. The inflammatory response will be constant if I constantly irritate that area or constantly damage the same area. For me to stop the inflammation, I must stop the cause of damage, the cause of irritation. That's the only proper way to stop inflammation. Taking drugs or using treatments or even doing the cracking of joints and all type of stuff like that, all those things only suppress and they stop the action of the body. Because remember, we said the inflammatory response is an action of the body. So the body is acting here. The body decided that, okay, this is the best thing for me to do. I'm going to send some extra blood to the knees, and we're going to heal up this area. So I'm going to keep a pool of blood there until I can heal this area, because in that area, I got dead cells, I got dead tissue, I got poisons in there that's irritating and damaging cells. So I got to get that poison up out of there. I got to send materials in there to repair, damaged cells and tissues and stuff like that. And so doing so is going to have more blood in that area. It's going to be hot. It's going to be red. And there's going to be pain. It's healing going on. So this is action of the body. If I stop that, I just stop my healing. We wondering why we never get healed. I just don't know why my knee won't never heal. And now I'm in chronic pain. Why? Because you never allowed the process to run its course. You keep interfering with the body's attempt to heal itself. Ever since a young age. Every time the body is trying to repair itself, you go and start taking pills and potions and stop. The blood supposed to be there, but you send the blood back out. Well, how is it gonna heal? Every time the plumber come to the door and say, "Well, I heard your plumbing is backed up," and you say, "Well, yeah, it is backed up, and I can't use the toilet, and boo boo coming all out of the bathtub and all type of stuff." But you can't come in my house and fix it. No. I don't want to hear all that noise of you changing pipes and all type of stuff like that. I ain't got time for that today. So you send the plumber on. But you want your bathroom to be workable, and you want all that boo-boo to be out of your toilet, your sinks, and your tub. But you won't let the plumber in the house. You won't let him do no work. All because you don't want to hear the noise. You don't want the disturbance. This is what's going on with our inflammatory issues. We do not want to be disturbed and allowing the body to do its job of responding to damage. Once an inflammatory response is triggered, blood flow to the damaged area is increased. The blood vessels, especially capillaries, widen, and the capillary walls become thinner and more permeable, allowing plasma and fluid to leak into the space between the cells. Next, while white blood cells such as neutrophils start to arrive, the neutrophils leave the blood and enter the tissue, drawn to the damaged area by chemicals released by the disrupted cells. So the cells send out chemicals like flags, SOS signs. Oh, I'm damaged. I'm destroyed. I need help. So that's what draws in troops, neutrophils, into the cells to repair and to heal and to remove old ones. All this is action of the body. The body is so unique. If you only understood some of the stuff and how much damage we're doing by meddling with the actions of the body, instead of letting the body do what it's supposed to do, all we need to do is learn how to conform to the ways of health, that we do not put our body in these conditions. We don't have to have an inflammatory response if we don't damage our tissues, if we don't bring toxins within our perimeter. It takes for us to learn how to properly live where we don't have to suffer. Now, Dr. Shelton has some things to say on inflammation as well. Dr. Shelton says, inflammation, and he says this in his book, Human Life, Its Philosophies and Laws. All right. In the chapter 8 on the rationale of inflammation, he says, inflammation as well as fever is the effort of the vital powers to protect the organism from injuries, mechanical, chemical, or vital irritants, or to expel morbific materials. This is proved by the phenomena of a multitude of morbid conditions. When a part of the body becomes greenious or dead, the living parts, provided there is sufficient vitality remaining in them, immediately form a line of demarcation, and the dead portion is soon separated from the living. This process is called sloughing. When a chemical or mechanical body is embedded in the flesh too firmly to be removed by absorption, as a bullet or a splinter, purulent matter is formed around it, and its further action on the parts is partially or wholly prevented by enclosing it in an abscess. Remember, I told you to put a barrier around something. Let's say that, a waste, a toxin, a foreign object, or something like that. If the body can't break it down, it'll form a barrier around it so that it can't irritate or be around vital tissues. So that barrier is a form of abscess, tumor, polyp, or wind. He went on to say, and when a portion of flesh is torn away by violence, or decomposed by corrosives, or burned out with fire, a covering of purulent matter is thrown over the exposed surface. Beneath, with granulations, a new growth of substance gradually fills up the cavity. This is the healing powers of the body. He says, before inflammation can arise, there must be a cause of necessity for it, in the form of some agent or influence inimical to health and life, either of the whole body or of some part of it. Such causes may be chemical poison, thermic, burns and freezing, mechanical, such as cuts, bruises, particles of iron, wood, bone, electrical, or differ, or vital parasites, and mental, as in hypnosis. Now, people didn't know hypnosis can irritate your brain, your nerve. The process will intensify of its action, the character of the tissue affected, and the condition of the individual affected. Imagine if you, like I told you, if you damage your knees by falling to the pavement, it will cause irritation. There are certain chemicals you can pour on your knees that will irritate them too. You know, fire will irritate your knee and do damage. So different things can all produce damage to an area, which will incite a inflammatory response. We see when people take serum poisoning, we see an inflammatory process where the body resists and casts off the septic matter. So we see like anaphylaxis, shock, protein poisoning from the ingestion of these septic poisons. These serum poisons are injected straight into our bodies, into our arms, into our buttocks, in different areas. It's these proteins are injected straight into our blood. They bypass the digestive tract. They're not taken into the digestive system, because everything for the body must go through the digestive tract, all through the respiratory tract and breathing for oxygen. But all nutrition and materials must go through the digestive tract and be broken down. Proteins thrown straight into the blood will cause a shock to the body. And this is a known scientific knowledge. Now, why medical doctors are allowing it to happen under the pretense or color of, prevention. No such thing. The only prevention is conformity to the ways of life. So, wrapping this thing up. Every disease make sure you know. Inflammation in whatever part of the body is located and whatever its cause is essentially a unit. All right. Notice that I said if you fall on the pavement, your knees fall and hit the pavement, they are inflamed. Your head ain't inflamed. Your hands ain't inflamed. None of that stuff inflamed. Your inflammation is localized to the area where the damage is. So if you're having pain and swelling in one area, that area is localized. That inflammation is localized to that area. That's where the damage is. The whole objective in this thing, and we about to close this show. I hope you was able to learn a good bit about this concept of inflammation. All right. We see inflammation to be, I got books all over the place. But inflammation being a general response of the body to respond to damage, waste, toxins, and irritation. And our 7 stages to cancer, our 7 stages to disease. We start off with the first cause of disease, which is low functioning power. And that low functioning power result in irritation. That irritation produces, innervation leads to a toxic buildup in the body. And that toxic buildup results in irritation. If it's a bunch of toxins being built up in the body, in the blood and stuff like that, those toxins are going to irritate certain cells and tissues that come in contact with that toxic blood. The weakest ones are going to break down first from constant irritation, because they're going to be inflamed. You're going to feel swelling all through your body. You're going to be, hurting and not knowing where this pain coming from, because it's internal toxicosis going on in your body. So the doctor can't tell you what's going on. You go to him, I don't know what's going on. I just feel funny, doctor, and things are just, I feel sensations through my body. He can't pinpoint nothing because it's in the blood. The irritation is in the toxicity of the blood. And that toxicity is irritating. He's not checking to see why your energy levels are low. That's not something they check. They don't check your vitality. They check and give you medication and make sure that you got enough medication in your body. But anyhow, we want to thank you for tuning into this week's show on natural is health, inflammation, and the inflammatory response. Hope that you learned something. I love you so much, and I ask that you share this information, hit share, and hit like, and follow us every week, 6 o'clock. We thank you so much. Best of health and happiness from Savannah Natural Health. Have a great week. I like that.
like this.